Ford didn't lose $4.7 billion because of bad luck. They lost it one truck at a time. Every single F-150 Lightning that rolled off the assembly line in 2023, every truck that a buyer drove home feeling like they were part of something new, cost Ford $36,000 more to build than they charged for it. Not a rounding error, not an accounting footnote. $36,000 per truck on the vehicle they told the world would define their next 100 years. You have probably driven past a Lightning at some point. Maybe you stopped and looked at it. Maybe you priced one out online, saw the number, and quietly closed the tab. And somewhere in that moment, whether you knew it or not, you were looking at a company bleeding out in slow motion and calling it progress. Here's the part that should bother you. Ford knew. Not after the losses hit, not when the earnings report landed. They knew before the truck shipped that the economics didn't work. They knew the battery costs were unsustainable at their production volume. They knew the platform was a compromise. They launched anyway, because the alternative was admitting that the most iconic vehicle in American automotive history was not ready to go electric, and that was a story Ford was not willing to tell. So instead, they told you a different one. If that just reframed something you thought you understood, stay with this, because what happens next to Ford is not just Ford's story. It's the story of every American automaker standing at the same edge. Ford is not a failing company. Let's be clear about that. Ford's overall business made $4.3 billion in profit in 2023. Its truck and commercial vehicle divisions are among the most profitable in the world. The F-Series pickup truck has been the best-selling vehicle in America for 47 consecutive years. But inside Ford, there is a division that is bleeding. Ford Model E, the EV unit, lost $4.7 billion in 2023 and $2.1 billion in 2022, and is projected to lose over $5 billion in 2024. That's over $12 billion in 3 years from a division that has produced exactly 2 mass-market EVs, the F-150 Lightning and the Mustang Mach-E. This is a story about what happens when a 120-year-old company tries to transform overnight and finds out the hard way that making electric cars is not the same as making gas cars. Before we go further, hold this question somewhere underneath everything else you're about to hear. Is Ford's problem a Ford problem, or is it a symptom of something structural? Something that means the entire American auto industry is paying a debt it has been accumulating for 20 years. That answer surfaces in the final act, and it lands differently than you expect. The F-150 Lightning was supposed to be Ford's masterstroke. Take the best-selling vehicle in America, make it electric. Simple, obvious, unstoppable. When the Lightning launched in 2022, the hype was enormous. 200,000 reservations in the first month. Analysts called it the most anticipated vehicle of the decade. Ford CEO Jim Farley said it would define the company's next 100 years. Then reality hit. The base Lightning launched at $40,000. Within 18 months, the price had been raised 3 times. The base model hit $50,000. The extended range version topped $90,000. Why did prices keep rising? Because every Lightning Ford built lost money. Ford revealed in 2023 that they were losing approximately $36,000 on every Lightning sold. The battery pack alone, sourced from SK Innovation, cost Ford more than the entire profit margin Ford makes on a base F-150 gas truck. Ford wasn't selling a truck. They were selling a very expensive lesson in battery economics. And here's what makes that number so much worse than it sounds on its own. Tesla, in the same year, was producing 1.8 million vehicles. Ford's Model E division produced around 72,000. When you buy batteries at Tesla's volume, you pay manufacturing cost. When you buy batteries at Ford's volume, you pay market price. The gap between those two numbers, per unit, per year, across an entire product line, is not a gap you close with better marketing or a price increase. It is a structural disadvantage that compounds every quarter you don't solve it. And Ford has not solved it. So where does $4.7 billion go in a single year? Let's actually follow it. Battery sourcing is the biggest cost. Ford does not manufacture its own batteries. It buys from SK Innovation, CATL, and Panasonic at a cost that, when volume is low, is extremely high per unit. Ford's EV volumes are a fraction of Tesla's. When you buy batteries in small quantities, you pay small buyer prices. Tesla pays manufacturing cost. Ford pays market price. The second cost, manufacturing retooling. Building EVs requires completely different assembly lines, different robots, different tooling, different supply chain relationships. Ford spent billions converting plants, costs that don't show up in the vehicle price but absolutely show up in the losses. Third, warranty and recall costs. The Mustang Mach-E went through 2 significant recalls in 2022 and 2023. Battery software issues, charging system failures. Each recall costs money. Each warranty claim reduces margin. Each quality failure costs brand trust. And fourth, and most damaging, software. Ford underestimated how much of a modern EV is software. Tesla has 1,500 software engineers working on vehicle systems. Ford, in 2022, had fewer than 200. The gap in software capability is one of the least discussed but most important reasons Ford's EVs don't match Tesla on user experience. Now consider that last number again, 1,500 versus 200. That is not a resource gap. That is a philosophical gap. Tesla was built by people who believed a car was a software product with wheels. Ford was built by people who believed a car was a mechanical product that occasionally needed a software update. Those are not 2 points on the same spectrum. They are 2 completely different understandings of what a car is. And the cost of that misunderstanding is being paid in real time, $36,000 per truck, $4.7 billion per year, $12 billion and counting. Ford's leadership knows the problem. Jim Farley has spoken publicly about the need to cut EV costs by 40%. He has visited BYD factories, he has studied BYD's vertical integration, and he has said openly that without a fundamental change in how Ford builds EVs, the losses will continue. Ford's plan to fix this has 3 parts. First, a joint venture with CATL to produce lithium iron phosphate batteries in Michigan. If this plant works as planned, Ford's battery cost per kilowatt hour drops significantly. The problem? CATL is a Chinese company. The venture faced intense congressional scrutiny in 2023. The political risk of depending on Chinese battery technology is real. Second, a new generation of EVs on a dedicated EV platform, not modified gas car platforms. The Lightning and the Mach-E were both built on modified internal combustion platforms. That compromise costs efficiency and adds weight. Ford's next EVs, announced for 2026, will be purpose-built. Third, software investment. Ford acquired Argo AI, then shut it down, a costly detour. Now they are building internal software capability, but they are years behind Tesla and Google-backed Waymo. The plan exists, the question is whether Ford can execute it before the losses become unsustainable. And that question has a hard edge to it that the earnings calls don't fully capture, because Ford's plan depends on a CATL partnership that is politically radioactive. It depends on a 2026 platform that hasn't shipped a single vehicle yet. It depends on closing a software gap against a competitor that has been building that capability for 15 years. Each of those dependencies individually is manageable. Together, on a timeline measured against ongoing 9-figure quarterly losses, they form a picture that Ford's leadership understands better than anyone, and that understanding is visible in the way Farley talks about this, not with confidence, with determination. Those are different things. Ford's EV losses are not just Ford's problem. Every American automaker is facing a version of this same crisis. GM lost $3,000 per bolt sold. Stellantis has delayed EV launches repeatedly. Even Tesla's margins are compressing as it cuts prices to maintain market share. The EV transition is expensive, disruptive, painful, and the companies that built their profits on gas engines are paying the transformation cost in real time. Meanwhile, BYD's EV division is profitable. Toyota's hybrid strategy is funding its solid-state battery research. Chinese startups like NIO and Li Auto are building software-first EVs faster than Detroit can respond. The American auto industry is not dead, but it is at the most dangerous inflection point in its 120-year history. And here's the answer to the question from the beginning. Ford's problem is not a Ford problem. It is what happens when an entire industrial ecosystem spends 2 decades watching a technology transition arrive and preparing for it as though preparation meant intention rather than transformation. Ford prepared, GM prepared, Stellantis prepared. They announced strategies and formed divisions and hired consultants and issued press releases. What they did not do, could not do structurally, was become different companies fast enough. BYD did not transform. BYD was built for this from the start. That is not a recoverable gap through effort alone. It is a gap that requires time, capital, and a tolerance for losses that shareholders measure in quarters and companies need to measure in decades. $4.7 billion is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of a reckoning, and the reckoning doesn't have a clean resolution waiting at the end of it. Ford has the resources to survive this. Whether they have the strategy and the runway is still being written in real time. That unresolved ending is exactly why this story matters, not because Ford is going to collapse, but because the way it resolves or doesn't will determine what American manufacturing looks like for the next generation. And the people who understand what's actually happening inside that story are the ones who will see the outcome before everyone else does. That's why the Dravexa community exists, not for the version of the story that ends with a tidy conclusion and a stock recommendation, for the version that follows the numbers all the way into the rooms where the decisions are being made and reports back honestly on what it finds. If that's the channel you want to be part of, subscribe, because next week we're looking at what happens when GM makes the same mistakes at double the scale, and that one has a number in it that will make $4.7 billion look like a rounding error.